What's up, everybody? So I kind of wanted to make a video on my ideal class setups and maybe kind of help some of you guys. I know it's a little bit late in the game, so to speak, but I know some people who are probably having some trouble with the class setups. They're not too sure on what works for them yet, and I just wanted to kind of go over that. Um, for an LMG class, I always try to put rapid fire on that. I want to put as much bullets as I can down the range, and if they don't have focus on, will help move their screen all. They can't, exactly have as much accuracy as I typically would. Um, I generally also put suppressor on the majority of my guns. I put my suppressors on ARs too, but we'll get to that in a minute. Um, but as far as the tracker sight, you don't have to have that. I was just kind of experimenting with it. I do really like that, mostly for the iron sights. I find them being more accurate and precise than the typical iron sights that you find now in the game. Um, then it'll help you engage enemies at longer ranges, and when you're kind of running around with an LMG, if you do, uh, you can switch over to the iron sights. This class is more of a defensive class. I wouldn't necessarily run around with this, and I don't camp, but I use more of a defensive tactic um, when I use this class. And for my perks, I put quick draw, dead silence, and off the grid, and extra attachment. Um, you don't necessarily have to have an extra attachment. Then you can put focus on there. I don't know why I don't have focus on this class right now, but I don't. But for my kill streaks, I chose support. And I always try and run a SATCOM. They don't do too much, but they definitely help if you're playing with your team. You can stack the SATCOMs and get different types of stuff like that. I run a Night Owl because it's kind of like a mini UAV, but I think it only works for yourself, and that's kind of handy. And I run Oracle too because it'll help your team out. You can see through walls and stuff like that. The players will light up in green. That's a very helpful kill streak to have. So we're going to move on to an assault rifle class. I have a couple different classes. So on this class, I put suppressor on. I put red dot, and you don't necessarily have to have a suppressor. I do because I like to be a little bit more stealthy when I'm going around the map. Because you don't want to be heard, because as we all know, the spawns aren't the best, and if you don't have a suppressor on, spawn 2 feet behind you or to the side of you, they could easily come up and snag you. So the suppressor kind of makes it a little bit harder for them to pinpoint you on the location that you're at. And I choose red dot simply because it's a cheaper one of the attachments you could have for squad points. I think it's only 3. And not only that, it helps with the accuracy. You could also put grip on this. I don't, because I chose to load up on my perks. So I put quick draw, takedown, dead silence, off the grid, and focus. Like I said, focus is definitely one of the best perks you can have. It helps reduce flinch when you get hit, like it says there. And off the grid, that's another very important perk I definitely suggest you having, and dead silence also. Quick draw is also very useful. Takedown, I put that in there to fill in one spot. And for I chose support for my strike, for my kill streaks. I'm sorry. Sadcom, Night Owl, Odin. I was just messing around with that. That's also very helpful. You can pinpoint where enemies are on the maps because you're in a satellite. You can help the team out. This class you could use for offensive. You could play defensive with this. Very accurate weapon. It's a good class I use most of the time. The SA-805, I same loadout, if not the same loadout. So I'm not even going to get into that, but that's also a very good gun if you want to try that out. For SMGs, I normally use two. I like the Vector, but don't have that in this. I'm not going to cover that, but you can basically use the same loadout that I'm going to tell you with the Pepper as for the Vector. So the Vector, I generally put rapid fire on it and muzzle brake. You can put a silencer, but I typically don't because this is a very offensive class. You're going to want to run around with this on the smaller maps. As you can see in most of my classes, I don't use secondary or lethals or tacticals. I generally just put all my setups on my primary. And for perks, it's basically the same as the other ones. Ready up, so I can ready up faster after sprinting, quick draw, dead silence, off grid, and focus. Like I said, you're going to want, it's a very offensive class, so you're going to want more of a speedy perks and stuff like that. So that's what I chose, and we're going to move on to the MTAR X. Almost the same class setup, except I chose a red dot for this. I do not like what some people do, some people don't. I do not. So I chose a red dot, and same perks. Very good gun, high rate of fire, especially with the rapid fire. But I'm going to talk about the Vector a little bit, and I used that a lot. It was a very good gun. I put rapid fire and silencer on that. And I used the iron sights because the iron sights were nice. So the perks basically see there, and the strike package is basically what you see there also. That's a very, I think very highly of that that weapon. If I had to make a choice between R or the Pepper, I would choose definitely the Vector, but out of the three guns, the Vector, the Vector, and the MTAR, I would have to go with the Vector. It's a very clean shooting gun, accurate. It's best with a suppressor, I think, personally. Most of my classes I have suppressors on it, mostly because, you know, I like to be stealthy. I don't spawn behind me. I am, so like I said before, the spawns aren't. So, most of my classes, as you can see, have suppressors in it, except for two of them, and those are my SMG classes, mostly because I'm not playing defensive, very defensive with an SMG class, you know. It's a speedy gun for a speedy tactics and way to play, so, you know, I do what I call hit and run, you know. I get a kill, and I get the hell out of where I am, so for a SMG class, that's definitely, you don't need a suppressor on there unless you really want to. But you know, this is just a suggestion that I'm throwing out there. You can take, you know, my suggestions worth a grain of salt. You know, it doesn't really matter to me, but this is what works best. So let me know if you guys have any suggestions on classes and different attachments, perks, and stuff like that, and setups and stuff like that. Drop that in the comments, and I'll give them a try. But as always, thanks for watching.